Welcome to the Art Ladies channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make these very simple spheres out of paper. You can call them paper orbs, paper spheres. They can be ornaments. It's a very complicated looking design with very simple materials. They join together in this triad of semicircle shapes. So it forms this quite beautiful design here. This type of a shape is in ancient Celtic designs. It's called a triskel, where the three shapes meet together. How they're mathematically equal as it radiates out. And this design has been used for thousands of years in different ancient arts. They're quite easy to make. The materials needed are very simple. It's just some kind of a stylus tool or an empty ballpoint pen that has a blunt tip. You need a pattern with the precise measurements, and I'll talk about that later. You need some simple tape. You can do double-sided tape, or this is just regular single-side tape. You can use glue too, but I prefer the tape method. Something soft to score onto. This is just a piece of cardboard that's very dense, that doesn't have a lot of ridges. This is a design that's very complicated looking, yet it's very simple to make once you see the demonstration. The first thing you need to do to make these orbs, I'm going to call them an orb, it's just simpler. They're spheres, ornaments, or whatever you want to call them. You want to cut out the patterns, and you can pull the patterns off of the internet. There's lots of different types of orb patterns. You want to be careful because sometimes the patterns aren't exact, and with this project, it does need to be exact. Sometimes if they're not exact, I'll show you some of these examples here. If the width of the semicircle isn't exactly the right size, it's not going to line up very well, and it may look crinkly like this example. I'll show you another one here where I printed it with some pattern so that you can see the difference. This width was too wide, and the circle was a bit wide as well. It just doesn't make the orb. So if you've pulled a pattern and it looks like this, then you want to try another website or another person's pattern. I have some patterns that I've worked up that have the exact measurements. And for my patterns, what you simply do is you cut out the shape, and then there's some arrows that show where you separate them. And you separate them down the middle. Once they're all separated, you just simply score on the gray line. You'll see here it's a gray line. And you're going to score it with a ballpoint pen. This one is a gel pen that's empty. So you need something that has a blunt tip. You can use a ballpoint pen where it retracts. This one isn't empty, so I just retracted it and traced the gray line like this. When you're tracing it, you want to trace it onto something soft, like a piece of cardboard. You've got to be careful, though, because sometimes some cardboard has ridges, and this can kind of cause you to come off the line. If you have a plastic pattern, you can make it out of a pencil box, or sometimes in notepads, they have a plastic sheet. I just simply cut the plastic here, and then I traced my pattern here. This helps because you can do it faster, especially if you're making a lot of them. But you need to trace all of the semicircles from the three strips. To score the design, you simply take your blunt instrument, the tool, either the empty ballpoint pen or a stylus tool. You can even use this small hook that's very blunt and trace your gray lines, pushing hard on a soft surface. You can line it up if you have made a pattern, which makes it go a little bit faster. And I'll show you what it looks like. Just trace it gently. Check, you want to check to make sure that it's scoring the back. So you want to see a little bit of an impression. See it on the back. You don't want to go through the paper though and poke too hard. If you do, that's okay. Just be a little bit lighter on the pressure the next time. So score and check to make sure that you have a little bit of a impression. This score line is going to help you fold it, and that's going to be our next step. Once you've scored all of the semicircles in all 3 strips, simply crease this score line. So we've scored through. We have a raised relief area here on the back. So I simply just crease the score line, and it just simply bends right in. Take your time, do it slowly, and be precise. And you want to do that for all 3 strips. Once you've scored and then folded all 3 of the strips, then you're going to take 2 of them and form rings. You can kind of straighten this out a little bit. It helps a little. And I'm going to form rings with some tape. I'm just going to bring the strips together, overlap the top onto the tab, and secure with a piece of tape. Exactly. You don't want to go way over, because with this pattern, being precise matters. And if it becomes too small, it's not going to line up with all 3 of the strips. I like to tape one end, and then I do the same on the other side. I place a piece of clear tape, and then I wrap it around to the back. That's securing it really good. If you just do one side, sometimes this will pop off. So I do that for both sides. Make your ring. Overlap on top of the tab. Line it up so that I'm just barely hiding that line. Place this one down, and then do the same on the other side. Line it up. So now I'm going to be putting them together. So I take a bottom ring, and then I take a top ring, and I like to have the semicircle pattern facing up, like so. And then I'm putting them inside each other. So I want to line this up with the semicircle pattern too. Here's my semicircle pattern. And then this one's lined up, semicircle pattern. It just helps if they're lined up a little bit to start. So I have one ring inside the other. Let me show you again. Here's your ring. One's flat down on the table. The semicircle is facing up. I just simply slip it in. Then I'm going to take the last strip of paper, and I'm going to bring it through this ring right here. Just slide it through the ring. Then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to press the side ring down. You can line it up a little bit if it, move this a little if it got moved. Then I'm going to slide it so that this can come through the top. And I'm going to bring it underneath. It's kind of weaving it, and bring it right through. Like so. Let me show you on the side view what it looks like. So I'm locking them together with the last one. Now I'm going to get my tape ready. I want 2 little pieces, one for each side. If you have double-sided tape, you can use that. Then I'm going to bring these 2 together. Double-sided tape, you just simply put a piece of tape here. But I find double-sided tape is harder for students. Place this and slide it in. Place your tape on this side, slide it in. Now what I want to do is, this is a seam where the two meet, and I don't want the seam to be here on the top. It needs to be in the middle of this here. So I'm going to just gently rotate this so my seam is in the middle. It's in the middle of this one right in here. I want it so that the semicircle is lined up right here. So now we're going to have to check all the semicircles to make sure that they're straight. You want the center of the semicircle here. Let's rotate. This one looks pretty good. This one looks pretty good. Let's see this side. This does not. See how this does not look good? So I've got to rotate this one a little bit more. I'm going to have to bring it around. Just be careful. And as you're rotating, you want to be careful that you're not going to mess up the others that you've already checked. So you're going to double check everything. So that one looks good there. So now it's looking good here. And then this one looks pretty good. I think I got them all now. Just kind of roll it to make sure. And now is the easy part. We're just going to press this down, and I'm going to take my folds and just press them in. Okay. Rotate. Make sure it's lined up. If it's off a little bit, just kind of move it where it needs to go and gently push the folds in. That's why we had to score and pre-fold. It just makes this step a lot easier. I'm going to rotate this way, give a little press, pull this in. Rotate. You're going to do this for the whole thing. Line them up. This one got moved a little, so I'm going to move it in. Now I'm going to do this side. Just simply press it in. And I think I have one more. Just simply press it in. And there is our sphere. Now, if you want to do a hole punch, I like to have a hole punch in mine. You can decide which is going to be the top. And for this snowflake design, it really doesn't matter which one is going to be the top. So I can simply take out one of these folds here, and I can just go ahead and hole punch in the center here. So I'm going to come up, find the middle of the semicircle, and just go down a little bit from the semicircle and just put a little hole punch. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. Put a little hole punch. And now I'm just going to push it back in. That way I can string a hanger through here, a piece of string or pipe cleaner or something. Very simple technique. But again, it has to be precise so everything fits together perfect. Like so. Now you can hang it with string and then decorate this with some beads, or just leave it plain if you'd like. This would look pretty hanging from trees. Where I live, our winters are very dry, so hanging them from trees won't matter too much because it doesn't rain that much. I hope you enjoy it, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Again, if you want the patterns that I have, and I have all kinds of different themes on these orbs for you to download. So if you'd like that, go ahead and click on the title. It'll take you to that Teacher Pay Teacher website that you can find my designs.